Hi, Alan D. So, a lot of people are confused about telepathy. Like, they ask themselves, was I actually doing telepathy with the other person? And it goes like back to a lot of things like psychedelic drugs or amphetamines, mushrooms, all that stuff. It's like people had telepathic experiences. But in psychology, telepathy or mind reading is considered a cognitive distortion. So, in other words, in psychology, they say if someone's talking in your head, it's not true. Or if you're talking in someone else's head, it's not true. But intuitively, like Buddhists say, we're one consciousness. So we can have like the same thought. Like you can have an intuition of what someone's thinking and vice versa, but it's a thought. It's like you have the same thought, which is not the same thing as telepathy or mind reading. They call it cognitive distortion in psychology. What a cognitive distortion means is that you have a false way of thinking, or you have like a fictional way of thinking. It's like a way of thinking that doesn't make sense. And me and my sobriety, it took me a long time to understand that I can't talk in people's heads and they can't talk in my head, but we can get the same thought at the same time. And then people talk about God and they say, well, I'm agnostic, I'm open to God, but I don't know, or atheist, I don't believe in God at all. It's difficult to have, or it's difficult to believe in God if you never had an experience with God, right? So the first thing, you got to be open to have an experience with God. Because it's difficult to understand, it's difficult to know something if you don't know what it is in the first place. So what I would suggest to all you agnostics or atheists is to be open to the concept of God, or to be open to have an experience with God, and you can go from there. I was reading like passages, not from the Bible, but it was like another book or something. And he was saying like there's three ways to understand God as a human being. Because we're different as human beings. We're not like God. God is the most intelligent spirit in the universe, or he's the most intelligent being in the universe. And we're limited by our human capacity, right? So we have a very low IQ as human beings compared to God. So it's difficult to understand God in the first place when he's something very complex to us human beings. But it was saying when I read the book that there's three ways of understanding God, or knowing God, or being inspired by God, or receiving transcendence from God. And the first way is sensations. Like when you feel something's wrong, it's because you got to look at that. You got to understand why something feels wrong. Or if something feels right, maybe you should go with that. You should go with that flow, or you should go with that mode, or you should go with that inner voice. So that's the first one, sensation. The second one is like I was talking about, it's a thought. It comes to mind. It's like the truth comes to mind. Like you might be baffled by something for a long time, and all of a sudden the truth comes to mind. And when the truth comes to mind, you stop suffering, because they say the reason why we suffer is because we don't know the truth. So you're getting like a thought, or something comes to mind. The thing is with God, like my experience is that he's not like human beings. Like human beings, telepathy is a cognitive distortion, but I see it different with God. Like he could actually transcend something, or inspire something, or work with your intuition in ways that other humans can't. So, for example, if God wants you to know something, you're going to know. It's not difficult for God to get you to know something, or to get you to understand something, or to get you to see something. So that's the second one. It's a thought. It comes to mind. Um, The last one is persistence. When it persists, you get like, I don't know, we get like 100 million thoughts a day, but certain thoughts persist, and it's like our inner voice persists, and our inner truth persists. So whatever persists is God. So you might think things are a certain way, but then it kind of like fades away, dissipates. So then it was never real in the first place. Like they have an expression, fear knocked on the door, and when I opened the door, I saw there was no one there. So whatever persists is God, whether it's a thought, a concept, a belief, an idea. That's what I got. I love you guys.